Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. In some companies, managing people is a requirement to advance, while in others, individual contributions are paramount. In either case, I have witnessed leaders starting to view people management as a tax, one they must do in order to advance, or one they do thanklessly. It can be common to lose sight of the true purpose of leading a team, to scale your impact. Today, we'll discuss a different view on leading teams to ensure the ROI is there for you and your business. Before we jump in, I want to shout out one of my clients who had a win in this area. Here is the quote from him. Sherry helped me see that I haven't been asked to manage people just because I've done it well for many years, but because I can scale my impact to be far greater than peer independent contributors. I can view this as an advantage rather than a tax and shift how I lead. This client assessed his corporate environment and realized that independent contributors could advance and be rewarded at the same pace and to the same extent as people managers. Individual contributions were recognized regardless of whether a person led a team or not. In this way, he concluded that managing a team was purely a tax. The time he would spend with his team members, coaching and teaching them, the administration of performance reviews, objective setting, and one-on-ones, the emotional burden of hearing their fears, personal challenges, and demands while finding a way to keep them engaged. It started to seem like something he had to do because of his years of experience managing people. But given the demands on his role, in the day-to-day, it felt like a task he did out of obligation and against his will. It was a duty rather than an intentional decision, one that he questioned whether it was even valued by or given credit for doing by his leadership and organization. It started to feel like all downside, lots of work without the hope for return. I helped him take a big step back to reevaluate the purpose of having a team. We landed on the objective as purely to scale his impact. As an independent contributor, he could advance efforts he touched personally, perhaps including a cross-functional group that he was influencing without authority. But when he was not involved, he was not responsible for positive impact. As a people leader, he could invest in his team to grow their skills and engagement, and even when he was uninvolved, he would be responsible for a multiple of positive results. We can forget that people management is an investment. Each investment should have a positive return. If the ROI isn't positive or compelling for you, it's time to rethink how you lead your team. Similar victories are shared by all of my clients, and I have experienced it too in my own career turnaround. So let's hop to today's podcast content and get you on your way to experiencing this also. The free download associated with today's podcast episode is one of my favorites. Get it now so you can follow along or mark it up with your own ideas as you listen. It's the Making Your Team an Asset reference kit at the first link in the show notes. To consider whether there is room for improvement on how you are managing your team, consider these recent real-life examples from clients. See if you can relate. Number 1, I don't want to delegate responsibilities to my team members that they might see as a burden or not feel engaged in, or might upset them when one person is selected for an opportunity over another. Number 2, my team wants to be spoon-fed and ask me questions all day long, even for simple things like where to find a document that they may have the means to resolve on their own. Number 3, my team has grand visions of taking over the company one day, but they also leave early, don't raise their hand to help, and they don't do the administrative tasks of updating their status on projects, and they've even fallen asleep at the computer screen. Number 4, when the stakes are high and the initiative starts to be at risk, is when I must step in to lead it myself. When I detect something is wrong, I take control to be sure we achieve the sought-after results. Let's take each of these common 4 scenarios in turn. Maybe as a leader you relate to one or many of these. For each one, we will discover the root cause of the problem, the solution, and one next step you can take today if you find yourself in this situation. First, I don't want to delegate responsibilities to my team members that they might see as a burden or not feel engaged in, or might upset them when one person is selected for an opportunity over another. For the leader who wants to inspire their teams, but is sensitive to overloading them, this is a common symptom. Underneath this behavior of resisting delegation is high devotion to the employee. The root cause of this behavior is believing that by asking your team to take on work, you will upset the team member. In order to avoid feeling that discomfort, you decide instead to hold on to the tasks to do them yourself. The outcome is that the employee doesn't learn how to do more tasks, and you burn out, either from being overloaded with quantity of work or bored by not taking on more challenging work. Here's the twist. By shielding your employees, you are doing them the greatest disservice. Maybe you have experienced this with your manager. You want to grow. You want more responsibility. You are aiming for promotion. You would welcome a raise. But this manager isn't offering you opportunity, visibility, or exposure. This manager is keeping their work to themselves. You stop learning and growing. Your career plateaus. You leave. Knowing this is the unintended consequence of resisting delegation, let's take a different approach. Round here, we are on a mission to work differently for better performance and satisfaction. Are you ready? If you believe that assigning work to your team gives them opportunity, you will feel confident delegating. Your team members will keep learning and growing their exposure and impact. You elevate what you focus on to something more strategic and impactful. Your team and you enjoy better results and better rewards and recognition. Everyone wins. Just by turning the downward spiral of hoarding tasks so that you burn out while you and your team plateau, to an upward spiral of delegation, everyone stretching into higher levels of work, better team business results, better individual career results. One small step that you can take this week is to identify something that you can delegate, to select the team member that you will delegate to, and how to present it as an opportunity for their growth. Second, my team wants to be spoon-fed and ask me questions all day long, even for simple things like where to find a document that they have the means to resolve on their own. Creating codependent team members. It happens to the best of us. As leaders, we want to be helpful and accessible to our teams. Unintentionally, we can turn into a help desk for our teams, available 24/7. We find ourselves making the same corrections for our teams on repeated mistakes, answering the same questions over and over again. We step in to fix things to save the day, or to save them the trouble of making the change or finding the document themselves. The unintentional outcome is that our teams don't learn and don't operate independently, and we are largely responsible for doing our team's work. The root cause of this behavior is underestimating our team's ability to learn and operate independently. We feel required to help them at every step, so our employees ask us how and for every detail because they know we know or we can find out. Once again, we become a resource for our team, rather than the team becoming an asset to the business. Here is the twist. By giving our team fish whenever it's time to eat, they never learn how to fish. We revise things for them so they don't do it on their own. They may not understand why we are doing things differently, so they produce the same mistakes or subpar output over and over, and we fix it for them over and over. Are you ready for the different approach? It is time to teach. It's time to coach. Don't offer the answer like the help desk. Ask the question to help them become resourceful. Ask the question that gets them thinking more critically. Ask what solution they can think of. Ask them how they might lead it. What could go wrong? How could they prevent it? Teach them how to think, how to problem solve, how to be resourceful, how to graduate beyond asking for help or highlighting problems. Once they master these skills for themselves, they will operate independently and with less involvement from you. So, we start to have skill. We transfer our knowledge to them, and they can carry out work instead of us. Once again, everyone wins. They learn things from us that only we can teach them. This makes them more valuable in role and in every role they play in the future. You get more leverage and capacity from them. You can impact areas without being directly involved, just by sending them there to do the work that you have taught them. One small step that you can take this week is to resist the urge to give them the fish. When they ask for help or an answer or highlight a problem, pause and ask them a question that starts to teach them how to solve it on their own. You can do this. Number 3, my team has grand visions of taking over the company one day, but they leave early, don't raise their hands to help, and don't do the administrative tasks of updating their status on projects, and even have fallen asleep at the computer screen. Sometimes we write off team members as having a certain personality or preference or limitation. We may shrug off bad behaviors. We don't even recognize missed expectations, let alone communicate them or set meaningful consequences for continued missed expectations. In an effort to be inclusive and accepting, we don't set clear standards for behavior and work. We hear career aspirations, but don't ground them in reality, and with constructive feedback on how to meet basic expectations, let alone plans for promotion and advancement. It can be so easy to avoid the direct conversations and let the bad behaviors continue. The root cause belief here is that the employee can't handle the job and can't handle the truth. So we feel locked into tolerating how they are performing as is. We don't give constructive feedback, or when we do, it's emotionally loaded and lost on the audience. The outcome is the employee languishes and either leaves because of a plateau, or we exit them because of missed expectations. What an unfortunate outcome, because we never truly gave them a fair chance to succeed. To do so means setting clear expectations and communicating when they are not met, coaching the employee to improve. Unintentionally, we gave up on the employee without giving them a fair shot at success. To turn the tide here while you still can, take the perspective that the employee is in seat and shows up every day because they indeed want to be successful, and that they are emotionally capable of hearing the constructive feedback because, frankly, it's an expectation of the role, and it's in their best interest for them and their future, as well as the business. Then you feel compelled to have the courageous conversation and structure their development for success. The outcome is that the employee now has the tools and freedom to either make a best effort to improve or to declare defeat. Either way, you will know sooner whether they can grow into the role or not, and will manage them up or out accordingly. Team morale and impact remains intact. One small thing that you can do this week is to identify if there are any employees that you have written off in the name of being accepting and are not giving them a fair shot to succeed. And then consider what you can do to reset expectations and communicate with them about what needs to change. Lastly, when the stakes are high and the initiative starts to be at risk, is when I must step in to lead it myself. When I detect something is wrong, I take control to be sure we achieve the sought-after results. This usually kicks in when our perfectionism or allergy towards any perceived failure takes over. We have this team, we know they're meant to help us, we know that requires teaching and learning, and yet, when it really matters, we show them what we really think when we take ownership over from them. Unintentionally, this destroys their confidence and trust. It shows them that they are not capable, or at least we don't believe they are capable enough. They don't learn firsthand from us how to solve these problems. They are plucked from the situation and miss out on the valuable learnings and even the chance to be the hero. This locks you in as who steps in every time going forward because no one else learned how to handle it themselves. The root cause here is believing the team member is incapable of leading through the adversity, and that the repercussions would be ones that no one could recover from, including you. This creates an exaggerated sense of importance and an overemphasis on getting it right, or appearing in a positive light to those around us. A leader will feel nervous about future results in an effort to reduce uncertainty, will step in for team members to lead the effort to a landing themselves. The outcome is the manager does the employee's role and then pats themselves on the back. The team member is denied the opportunity to learn, have positive exposure, and have experience that will build their confidence and resilience. Ultimately, this tends to make the employee disenfranchised. Who wants to continue in a role where you aren't seen as capable executing in it? The employee realizes that you as the leader perceive they have capped out on their potential and opportunity for growth from here. They see the leader with high devotion to standards and low devotion to the employee, their growth and learning. Attrition is likely. All right, let's get this downward spiral turned right side up. It starts with a new belief. The employee is in the role to learn by doing. You as the leader are not the sage on the stage or the hero that swoops in. You are the guide on the side, coaching and guiding them as they lead at every step. These beliefs cause you to feel confident that this opportunity for the employee to grow and contribute was purposeful, and some flagging indicators means it's time to lean into your employee's development, not halt it. Learning in the situation will be most impactful and most retained, so you choose to allow the employee to maintain direct ownership while you continue to be more broadly responsible, otherwise known as the core plan for any team member. The outcome is that you taught the team member how to handle challenges and proceed with caution, mitigating risk as best you can. This prepares them for future challenges where you can be less involved. Now we have scale. One small step that you can take on this week is to catch yourself when you're tempted to step in for your employee. Take a beat and instead lean in to helping them learn how to lead through adversity. I hope these 4 common real-life examples have provided before and after comparisons. You can see the commonality between them. It's actually our own actions as the leader that could potentially turn people management into purely attacks, all cost, all downside. This is looking at employees as a cost, administrative asks of our time and energy, even a distraction from our core work on contributing individually to our business and strategy. If you find yourself in this predicament, know that it is fully in your control to change this situation completely. The difference is recognizing that your employees are assets, not costs. Every moment teaching or guiding is an investment. Your employee learns from you how to independently create positive results. Now you can be setting strategy for the group while they are delivering results from your group for the client, internal or external. You are there for guidance when things are new or challenges stretch the employee outside of their comfort zone. But all the rest of the time, while you are working, they are working. We may not have cloned you, but we created a representative, someone who can learn from you and add in their own unique perspective and talents for an outcome even better than your clone. Diverse experience and thought in this collaboration makes for better results. So now you have scale and a superior collective output that benefits from the brilliance of each individual team member. Your team members are assets that require investment and maintenance. When done properly, they appreciate and value, standalone value that makes them marketable anywhere, and value to the business. They are more than worthy of your time and attention. It makes good business sense. It multiplies your ROI. It's a team of complementary styles and skill sets that are greater than the individual. Of course, there are some prerequisites for this to be the case. For your team to scale your impact and add a multiple of value than you would on your own as an individual. Here are 10 prerequisites to keep in mind. Number 1, clear definition of the role, even before you hire for it, how success will be measured, what skills are needed. 2, effective selection of talent for the role when hiring, including assessment of the will to do the job well and skill to execute successfully in it. 3, communication of clear objectives for the person and role that are specific, aligned with your objectives and that of the business, and objectively observable. 4, coaching along the way to help the team member identify solutions to problems, identify and implement new perspectives and actions that create better results. Train them so ultimately they are working independently and autonomously while meeting your expectations. 5, regular performance review and delivery of feedback, proportionally such that recognition of good work is 5 to 10 times the constructive feedback delivered. 6, reward their work fairly and accordingly in the way of performance ratings, compensation, and where appropriate, promotion. 7, continually uncover what drives them and motivates them over time. Consider how their career path can satisfy their ambitions and the needs of the business. 8, create an environment for your team to thrive, where they feel belonging, pride to be on a winning team, supported, encouraged, and challenged enough to keep learning. 9, actively manage performance and identify and communicate missed expectations, giving the team member every opportunity to be successful, acting swiftly to improve performance before moving them out of the role if unsuccessful. 10, provide opportunities for exposure and visibility of their work, including building relationships so they establish their own network and advocates. It's some list, I know. It isn't handed to us when we are asked to start managing people, but it probably should be. When any of these activities are not being done well, completely, or frequently enough, that is when managing people becomes more of a tax and less of a multiplier. That's when your own career stalls because you are doing your team's work instead of your own, or doing damage control as they burn bridges in relationships with others or bring the team morale down. This is a perfect opportunity to objectively assess whether your team is multiplying the impact you are having on the business or costing you instead. If it's the latter, you know what to do. It starts with you as the leader. Consider the list of necessary best practices we just covered. Which one might be challenged right now? Maybe it's giving constructive feedback where expectations are being missed, and not just talking about it, but providing real and measurable consequences so the team member is motivated to change. Maybe it's resisting delegation, such that you are not overseeing what they do, but are owning it firsthand. Maybe it's indulging in spoon-feeding your team as the help desk, rather than coaching them to be independent. Whatever it is, find it eagerly. This is the key to making your team an asset rather than a cost. Every situation is repairable, but it always starts with you as the leader. It's what you were called to do. It makes good business sense. It will make your performance stronger. It will make you more satisfied with your work. It may feel different or uncomfortable, but it's worth it. Get the reference kit for making your team an asset now as just one part of my leadership playbook. It's instantly accessible in the first link in the show notes. And if you could use help doing this well, book your free consultation with me. I have managed every people situation firsthand. I have guided clients through a myriad of human resource issues. It helps to know what works, rather than making your way through uncharted territory on your own. Your manager and your HR team may have the best of intentions, but may not have mastered these skills themselves. You don't have to go it alone. This is an opportune time to get support. Lead your team better than ever before. You've got this. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.